Seuss. By Sally Field.
I will read. I will read on a boat. I will read with a goat.
I will read on a train. I'll read in the way.
I will read with a fox.
I will read in a box.
I will read with a mouse. I will read in a house.
I will read
Here or there. I will read anywhere. My favorite food is broccoli by Ken Nesbitt. My favorite food is broccoli. I eat it every day. There isn't any other food that makes me feel this way. It makes me feel so healthy. It makes me look so cute. But mostly I like broccoli because it makes me
Poems by author unknown.
Friends smile at you, they like your face, they want to be with you any old place. Friends have fun with you, friends share, they're glad when you're happy, when you're sad, they care. If you're a friend, then you care too, that's why your friends are glad you're you.
It's nice to have a friend like you.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because you make me so fine, I'll take you for my Valentine.
Thank you. I Raise My Hand in Class by Ken Nesbitt. I raised my hand in class this morning, sitting in the back. The teacher didn't see, I think. Instead, she called on Jack. I stretched my hand up higher, but she called on Zach and Zoe. I started bouncing up and down, but still she called on Chloe. I waved my arms, but even so, she didn't call on me. She called on Brian, Brooklyn, Billy, Bailey, Ben, and Bree. She called on Taylor, Tristan, Thomas, Trinity, and Ty. Then finally, she called my name. I breathed a heavy sigh. She asked me for the answer. I just frowned and clenched my knees and said, I have no idea, but could I use the bathroom, please?
Thank you very much. But first, by Kathy Kenny Marshall.
I had a bit of trouble with my teacher yesterday. She said I had to get to work. There wasn't time to play. But first, I had to tie my shoes, and I had to blow my nose, and then I had to clean the lint that tickled between my toes. Then I had to find my pencil and sharpen up its tip. Then I had to zipper up my pants and Vaseline my lip. And then, of course, because it was cold, I put my sweater on. And then I found a new eraser because my old one was all gone. And then I found a buggy bite. I really had to itch. And scratching made me notice that my sweater pulled a stitch. And so I pulled a little thread and made a little hole. And noticed that my elbow had a tiny brownish mole. It looked just like a ladybug, so I drew it a nose. I added spots and little legs and teeny buggy toes. Then finally, with those things all done, I settled down to work. But my friends had already finished, and my teacher went berserk. And really, I was so confused. I wasn't having fun. These things were quite important. They were just begging to be done. So now it's time for science. We're on what page? 94? But first, there are some markers that I must pick up from the floor.
Thank you.
Have you ever wanted something so bad that you thought you couldn't live without it? Well, I'm going to tell you about a girl who had the same problem. Little Abigail and the Beautiful Pony by Shel Silverstein. There was a girl named Abigail who was taking a drive through the country with her parents when she spied a beautiful, sad-eyed, gray and white pony, and next to it was a sign that said, "For sale, sheep." "Oh," said Abigail, "may I have that pony? May I please?" And her parents said, "No, you may not." And Abigail said, "But I must have that pony." And her parents said, "Well, you can't have that pony, but you can have a nice butter pecan ice cream cone when we get home." And Abigail said, "I don't want a butter pecan ice cream cone. I want that pony. I must have that pony." And her parents said, "Be quiet and stop nagging. You're not getting that pony." And Abigail began to cry and said, "If I don't get that pony, I'll die." And her parents said, "You won't die. No child has ever yet died from not getting a pony." And Abigail felt so bad that when she got home, she went to bed, and she couldn't eat, and she couldn't sleep, and her heart was broken. And she did die, all because of a pony that her parents wouldn't buy. This is a good story to tell to your folks when they won't buy you something you want.
Thank you.
On December 1st, 1955, she sat in the front of a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. A white man ordered her to move to the back. She refused. She was arrested, but this strong black woman, started something way bigger than a seat on a bus. She started a movement, one that changed this country forever, all because someone dared say to her, "Go to the back of the bus, Rosa Parks." Author unknown. Go to the back of the bus, Rosa Parks. Go to the back and stay. No, I won't. I think that's unfair. And I am just way too tired today. But everyone knows the rules, Rosa Parks. Everyone knows if you're black, you cannot eat at white restaurants. And on buses, you sit in the back. So now it's time to move, Rosa Parks. No, I'm not moving at all. I have a voice, and I am going to use it. Thousands will hear the call. We're coming to sit with you, Rosa Parks. People black and white did say, we're coming to change America and bring equality here to stay.
Thank you.
Have you ever been mad at your teacher because they gave you a lot of homework? Well, we have. This is our speech called Homework by Maribel Yako, Athena N. Villa, Reina Ekbalyans, and Bettina Verda.
Homework, oh homework, such a horrible name. The teacher is the person that we should blame. From math to English to science and art, don't you think we've had enough at the start? Spring break is just around the corner, so don't you dare give us any homework. We want to enjoy it with our family and friends and Grandpa Joe, who should be in bed. After spring break, when we come back, you give us more work than we've ever had. I was mad because my teacher gave me an F. I was grounded forever, even from school. Then my teacher called and said, you have a project to do. The project was building a wind-powered car. Well, to me, that sounds pretty bizarre. I gathered some wood, glue, and a cute red flag to build this car that was blue. I went back to school that day, and it was time to start the race. I hope I become in first place. The teacher turned on the fan, and everyone knew the plan. We would grab our cars until the teacher yelled, go! I let go my car, and it zoomed across. I knew it wouldn't take a loss. The finish line was right there. I nearly fell out my chair. I blinked my eyes, and I heard a cheer, but everything was so unclear. Apparently, I had won. I was so happy of what was going on that I didn't realize today was a Saturday and I was all alone. My teacher was imaginary and so was my ribbon. Then I realized I was talking to a chicken.
Thank you.
I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. It might be asthmatic flu. I cough and sneeze, achoo, and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button is caving in. My back is wrenched. My ankle is sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold. My toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My elbow is bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail. My heart is... What? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye. I'm going out to play.
In November 1863, President Abraham Lincoln was invited to deliver remarks at the official dedication ceremony for the National Cemetery of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, on the site of one of the most bloodiest and decisive battles of the Civil War. Though he was not the featured speaker that day, Lincoln's 273-word address would be remembered as one of the most important speeches in American history. Here is that speech, which still rings true today. The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is rather for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be dedicated here to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause which they gave the last full measure of devotion, and these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, will have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Thank you. I will be reciting 3 monologues from the Anne of Green Gables book by Ellen Montgomery. Anne of Green Gables is about a girl named Anne Shirley who was accidentally adopted by a couple named Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert who really wanted a boy to help them run their farm. In the first monologue, Anne is riding home to Green Gables for the first time with Matthew. "Oh, you and I are going to get along just fine, Mr. Cuthbert. I always heard that Prince Edward Island was the most beautiful place in Canada, and I used to imagine that I lived there. This is the first dream ever to come true for me. I always wished I would get to live by the sea. These red roads are so peculiar. On the train into Charlottetown, I asked Mrs. Spencer what made the roads red. She said she didn't know, and for pity's sake, stop asking her questions. Dreams don't often come true, you know, Mr. Cuthbert. Just now, I feel pretty nearly perfectly happy. The only reason I can't be exactly perfectly happy is because what color would you call this? Red. I know I have green eyes and I'm a little freckled and skinny, but I always dream that I have a beautiful rose leaf complexion and violet starry eyes, but I just cannot imagine my red hair white. It'll be my lifelong sorrow." In the second monologue, Anne has a best friend named Diana Barry, who is also her next-door neighbor. On a sleepover at Diana's house, Anne accidentally jumps on Diana's aunt, Miss Barry. Here's Anne's apology. "I'm Anne of Green Gables, and I've come to confess. It was all my doing, Miss Barry. Diana would never dream of racing in and jumping on a bed like that. She's far too ladylike, whereas I am merely an orphan who wouldn't know any better. So I think you ought to forgive Diana and let her have her music lessons back. I don't know what it's like to be woken from a few hours of precious sleep, granted an old woman, by 2 ferocious girls landing on your head, but I can imagine it was terrifying in the extreme. We simply just didn't know you were there, and you scared us nearly half to death yourself. You can imagine how excited I was to be sleeping in a strange spare bedroom reserved for only important company, such as yourself, but then I had to be disappointed for I had to sleep with Minnie May, and you do not know how she kicks. Mine was the sleep of the bitter disappointed, for I had to lie awake knowing that I had cost Diana her future career as a world-class pianist." In the third monologue, Anne is 15 and is saying goodbye to Matthew Marilla in Green Gables to head to Queen's Academy. "I'm not changed, not a bit, just pruned down and branched back out again. And I will always be your Anne that will love you and Matthew and Marilla in Green Gables forever for the rest of her life."
Thank you. Let's go ahead and have all of our contestants go ahead and stand up and take a bow. Let's give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.